You call yourself a man? You know you're a lying, low-life, motherfucking gambling degenerate prick. You know that's what you are?
Well, hello, you degenerate fucks, and welcome to the Degenerate Gambler. It is Wednesday, the 1st of March. Just back with another episode. I'll be looking back at last week, a bit of a shit week. Looking ahead to this week, giving my bets. First thing, I'll start the episode off with an apology because I did a bet that won that it didn't post. It was in the Napoli game, which I think was 5 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. I literally, what did I do? Because I only did like a £2 bet for the evening games because there wasn't a lot that I fancied. But I think I had something like I had £8 left in my account, and then I'd seen that I'd fancied Napoli. They were in my actual bet that was beat, but I looked at it and I was like, do you know what? Your man Victor Osimhen he's been scoring loads recently, and I was like, if I put that in, put him to score. Let's just see if I can make up a bet builder. And this was literally at like 5 to 5. And by the time I got it done, it was literally like 1 minute to 5. So, if I posted it, most people wouldn't have got it anyway. But it ended up winning me 72 quid. So, I just apologize that I didn't think of that beforehand and get it up early. So, sorry for that. But look, let's get to the actual bets. Um, it looked like it was going to be a terrible day. I mean, obviously it was, and it didn't get a bet up. But like the betting didn't really have a sweat in it in the main bet. So I'll go through the teams. It was Morton, Dortmund, Napoli, Lyon, and Dumbarton. So Dortmund was half two kickoff, which they were winning. That was fine. But Napoli and Lyon were later on. So I only really had two other games going, which was Morton and Dumbarton. Morton were getting beat, Dumbarton were getting beat. Um, Thankfully, Morton managed to turn that game around, but Dumbarton lost at home. Um, so, and I said, there never really was a sweat for the whole bet. It just, yeah, last minute or whatever, last few minutes when Morton scored to go 2-1 up, Dumbarton didn't really have a chance. So yeah, disappointing. And then obviously the other two, Napoli and Leon, went on to win. So it was four up, one beat, which isn't bad, but not great. Now, last week I mixed up the overs with some overs and both to score, and it wasn't any better. I really am considering doing away with that bet and maybe just going. I used to be pretty good at picking draws. Maybe I'll just do a fiver on three draws or something. I don't know. I'm going to give it a few more weeks, because even though the last week's was beat, I'll run through it here. It wasn't bad. So let's see. So Peterborough Plymouth was up. Leeds game both to score. It was 1-0, so I just needed one goal there. The West Ham game, they went 1-0 up late on, so then I just need the other team to score. Didn't happen. West Brom Middlesbrough over twos was crazy because West Brom went 2-0 up, and obviously Middlesbrough been in great form. So you expect their Middlesbrough definitely score. It'll be 2-1, or they'll come back to 2 each or whatever, but it'll be up. But it stayed 2-0. And then Sheffield United was the same. They went 1-0 up against Watford, and just Watford couldn't score. So in the both the scores, it was all the home teams were 1-0 up, so I needed three away teams to score, which kind of is sometimes hard. But it was beat, but it was there was something there where it could have came up. So yeah, no win in the end, so that's what matters. Then I had that evening bet, which was 72 quid. I won on the Napoli bet builder. I did do a £2 um small bet, which wasn't really great. I also then reloaded because I had the 72 quid that wasn't great. Then I did an overnighter in the MLS because the MLS was back. I think I had a couple of Argentinian games in there too. 5 out of 7 were correct on that, so no luck there. Moving on to Sunday. So Sunday I had an early bet. What's that? Yeah. So I had Feyenoord over twos was up. Danish team Viborg over twos was up. AX they win. Then Bosch was crazy because both those teams score goals. Had that over twos, nil each. Inter both to score. Bologna scored, was ruled out. Bologna scored again. So you're thinking just an inter goal, but no, they lost the game. And then Bilbao didn't win either. So that was pretty poor. Three right, three wrong. I did an afternoon bet. I had United, I had Bayern, had PSV, had Las Palmas, and then two that beat me were Barcelona at 4-9 for fuck's sake, and then Seville. Again, a team who should have won that game. I did that big event Sunday thing where I did say I was questioning my decision. I probably should have cashed out and just went with Tommy Fury to win, but I did United to win the game, which was the AFL Cup final. I did Celtic to win the Scottish League Cup final, and I did Tommy Fury, but Tommy Fury to score a knockdown, which I thought was like, to be fair there, I thought it was hedging my bets. He could get a knockdown and lose the fight, get knocked out, or losing points. But the more at the time when I was thinking of changing it, I was just thinking of changing it to Tommy Fury to win. Because I'm saying to myself, maybe he'll just go out and he'll move about and he'll box, which is what he did. Now he did get stuck in as well, but um, he just didn't get that knockdown. So that beat that. That wasn't great. Um, I did manage to get. I did a small bet on Fred to be booked in the cup final, which was up. And then I did another one on Bruno Gomez to get booked later on the second half. I put it on that one. Didn't I only had 250 on that, but that was a 1750 win. So that took my overall winnings to like 90 quid, which isn't bad. And again, that made me. I posted yesterday. So if you look at my Twitter, my profit loss for February is posted. And I think off the top of my head, it was £225 and 5p, which, listen, is no joke. £200 profit a month, pretty good. So that was the last week. Um, Looking at the stats were bad last week for all things. So like I'm saying about this overs bet, um, there wasn't many. Well, I'll get that. It was very low percentage. But anyway, for the favourites and the draws and outsiders, Premier League there was 9 games, 4 favourites, 2 draws, 3 outsiders. In the Championship, now we all know the Championship, usually very, very, competitive league. You get outsiders all the time winning. But this week's probably one of the biggest this season. So there was 12 games over the weekend. 9 favourites won. There was 1 draw and only 2 outsiders. That's pretty good, but you can never bank on that in the Championship. You just can't. League One, 8 favourites, 2 draws, 2 outsiders from 12. League Two, 4 favourites, 3 draws, 5 outsiders. So, terrible that, less than 50%. National League was 6 favourites, 3 draws, 3 outsiders. So 50%. National League North, only 3 favourites, 5 draws, 4 outsiders. And the National League South, 4 favourites, 2 draws, and 6 outsiders. So in total, that's 81 games. Um, there was 38 favourites, 18 draws, and 25 outsiders, which worked out at 46%. So again, very, very low. It's been like that for a few weeks. But look, you know, I say I'm only doing here. I'm only doing England. Realistically, if I had time, I should really be doing England, Scotland, maybe doing, you know, Italy, Germany, Spain. That's probably the leagues that I'm most bet in. But it's obviously a bit of painstaking to go through these. Not It takes a lot of time. But I think even just by doing England, you're getting a sort of overhead look or a bird's eye view type thing of how many favourites are winning. England's where 80% of my teams will be selected from, so it gives me a good gauge on whether or not there was a chance of getting a bet up. Going to the overs terrible again, even worse than 46%. So only 2 games in the Premier League over the weekend were over twos. And I think I said, I'll look back here, but I'm nearly sure last week was very, very similar. Yeah, yeah, 2 and 8 out of 10. This week it was 2 and 7 out of 9, which is mental because the Premier League is usually a very good league for over 2 goals. Championship 5 over 4 or 7 not out of 12. The rest of these are all 12. So League One 5 over 7 not. League Two 6 and 6. National League 6 and 6. National League North 5 over 7 not, and the National League South 3 over 9 not. which ended it was a grand total of 32 over and 49. Is that? Yeah. Not over. So that was only 39%, which is really low. So say I'm going to give it a couple more weeks with the um, overs. Now, maybe I should be looking at both teams to score as well. Um, if I continue with this bet, putting both teams to score in, I'll obviously have to look at the stats because I'm doing this blind just on you know sort of stats I see of recently, but it would give me a gauge of what leagues are best for both to score and what leagues are not. So we'll see how this goes. I say this is only my second week doing a split bet, but we'll see how this goes, and I'll maybe start adding in the stats for both to score as well. Right, so time for this week's bets. So as usual, I will run you through the bet, give you the prices, and then I'll come back for my reasons. So first team is Burnley away at Blackpool. They're 8 to 13. That's 1.62. Plymouth at home to Charlton, 17 to 20. That's 1.85. Sheffield Wednesday at home to Peterborough, 4 to 5. That's 1.8. Leighton Orient at home to Swindon, that's 10 to 11, 1.9, 1.91. And Stockport at home to Doncaster, 13 to 20, which is 1.65. So in total, that's about 15.9, call it 16 to 1. There is a 12% bonus. It's paying around 180. It's a big bet. Um, if there's a possibility of cashing out for a decent amount there, if I've got a few 1-0s, I don't like that. If you're sweating on 2 or 3 games that are 1-0, I'll probably take it. But that's the bet. Here's the reasons. So Burnley, look, it's going to be pretty obvious with Burnley. They're top of the league. They're winning most games. Blackpool are way down there in 23rd position. So, second bottom. In recent form, um, Burnley are second to Middlesbrough. They have 11 points from 5 games. Blackpool, 4 points. Not terrible, but for a team down the bottom, that's not bad. Um, Recent home form, Blackpool is decent. They have win, 2 draws, a win, draw. So they're unbeaten in 5. But if they are going to get beaten, Burnley's the team to do it. Burnley beat them last year away from home, and that's when Burnley weren't great. Burnley's away record is draw, 2 wins, draw, win. So look, that you could say in a way that is an evenly matched game as far as form is concerned. But one team's top of the league, one team bottom of the league. So that's sort of my reason. Next is Plymouth. Plymouth are currently top of League One. Sorry, they're second in League One. Sorry. They're second to Sheffield Wednesday. And Charlton are 13th. Plymouth, we've talked about this recently, they have had a bit of a dip in form. They've only got 7 points from 15 points available, and Charlton have 4. But they have the best home record in the league, better than Sheffield Wednesday, and they've actually played a game less than Sheffield Wednesday. So the 43 points at home this season, Sheffield Wednesday have only got 40, and Plymouth have played a game less. Away form, Charlton 16th, and then we look at recent form. Plymouth, it was a cup game. There was a last home game. They drew and went through in penalties. Drew the game before that, and then won 3 before that. They also beat Plymouth beat Charlton last year at home on the year before. Don't know much you can read into that, but Charlton's away record decent but patchy. So they drew away to Peterborough in their last away game, lost the game before that. They won 2 before that, and then they lost the game before that, although that was against United. So I'm just looking at best home record in the league should win that. Next, it's the team I just said who are above Plymouth, which is Sheffield Wednesday. Currently top of the league, playing Peterborough, who are 8th. So, 2 teams in the top 8. Or Peterborough just outside the playoffs. Form, Sheffield Wednesday second in the league. Joint top, 13 points from 15. So that's 4 wins and a draw out of 5. Peterborough 13th, only 7 points in the last 5. Home form for the season, Sheffield Wednesday, as I said, second. Peterborough's away form, not great, down in 12th. We look at recent form. Sheffield Wednesday won their last 3 at home. Drew the game before that, and won the game before that. Away from home, Peterborough not bad. They've got 3 wins at the feet and a draw. They won their last game against Morecambe. Lost the game before that, 2 wins before that, and a draw. Now, I think Darren Ferguson's managing Peterborough for the 500th time. For fuck's sake, he's been there and been sacked about 10 times. He's back again. So they are in decent form, but again, I'm just looking at that from the perspective of Sheffield Wednesday are top of the league. They're the game in hand, and they're 3 points clear of Plymouth. They are 8 points ahead of Ipswich, but the league ain't over yet. There's a lot of games left. They're on 32 games to play 46. That's 14 games. They need to get another 8 or 9 wins there, to sort of concrete and make sure that they definitely finish either first or second. So that's my thinking there. Next, we move on to League Two, which is Leyton Orient, top of the league currently, playing Swindon, who are 10th. And again, Leyton Orient have had a slight dip in form. They've 11 points from 5 games. Swindon only have 6. But Leyton Orient again, best home record in the league. Um, and Swindon's away form down in 10th, so decent but not great. Recent form, they've won 3 in a row at home, Leyton Orient. Drew the game before that, won the game before that. And Swindon's away form is they won their last game against Salford, but they lost 3 before that and won the game before that. So, patchy at best. Last one, Stockport, a team that everybody fancied to get promoted from League Two because they won the National League last year, didn't they? But had a really, really bad start, but recently have really come into form. So they're currently top of the form table. 12 points from 5 games. Doncaster are actually decent, 9 points from 5 games. Home record, Stockport 31 points, sitting fifth in the home table, and Doncaster's away form isn't great. They're down to 15th. Um, so, not the best. When I look at Stockport's recent home form, 3 wins in a row at home. They drew the game before that, and they won the game before that. Doncaster away is their record is loss, win, loss, loss, loss. So only 1 win and 5 away from home. So that completes the bet. As I say, 15.9 to 1, about 16 to 1 if you're doing it somewhere other than Bet365. But if you do it in Bet365, you'll get a bonus, and I think it pays around 180. So it could be decent cash out. We'll see what happens. Right, so the mixed bet this week is similar to last week. It's 2 overs on 3, both teams to score. And again, I set out with the aim of picking up over 2.5 bet. But as I'm doing it the way that I normally do it, and I know it's similar to other people who put bets online, is you're checking recent form, you're checking teams who are scoring goals. What I like to look at is a team who's maybe, if they're in good form, scoring 2 a game, maybe conceding 1 a game, or they're thereabouts. Or, if a team maybe is scoring slightly under 2 a game and conceding slightly under 1 a game, but then the team they're playing has conceded maybe 15 in 5 games and maybe scored 3 or 4 or 5, then you're sort of saying, well, that could be a 2-1 or 3-1 win for that team. So that's where the sort of what do you want to call it, equation comes from of how I pick the bets. But when I'm going through the leagues, and it's easily done, you can go on the Fly Score, and I'm sure there's other apps where you click in the form table. There's very few teams that are scoring 2 goals a game in any league, and it's really hard then to pick up an over 2.5 bet. It's really, really hard. So as I say, I went with 2 over 2.5s and 3 both teams to score. I'll read them out. I'll let you know what I've picked in the while I'm doing it. So the first one is the Premier League I'm going with again. So let's hope there's more than 2 games that are over 2.5 this week. So the first game is Southampton Leicester. It's 11 to 10 over 2.5. That's 2.1 in decimal. The next 3 are all both to score, which is Millwall Norwich, which is 5 to 6, which is 1.83 in decimal. Sunderland Stoke 5 to 6. That's 1.83 in decimal. And Carlisle Grimsby, which is even money, 2.0 in decimal. So those 3 are both to score. And then the last one is another over 2.5, and it's Aldershot versus Torquay, which is 3 to 4 over 2.5, and that works out at 1.75 in decimal. So in total, that bet pays around 23 to 1. So that's decent. That'll get over 100 quid for the fiver. Right, before I let you go, then I'll quickly look at next midweek. Champions League is back. It's the second legs of games, but I'll get that in a minute. So Tuesday we have 3 championship games. There is 7 games in League One. There is 5 games in League Two, 11 in the National League, 12 in the National League North, 10 in the National League South. Uh, there's a game in the Scottish Championship, a game in Scottish League One, and a game in Scottish League Two. The Champions League games that night on Tuesday are Benfica Bruges and Dortmund Chelsea. There's also, for some reason, there's a Europa Conference League game that night, which is Lazio AZ Alkmaar. So I don't know why. There must be a reason why that's on a Tuesday night, because obviously that's supposed to be Thursday. Wednesday is slim pickings. Wednesday is there's a National League South game and there's 3 SPL games. The 2 Champions League games on that night are Bayern PSG and Spurs AC Milan. So the Bayern PSG decent game. I think Bayern's winning that, aren't they? Then Thursday we have 8 Europa League games and 7 Europa Conference League games, obviously because that Lazio game is on Tuesday. So midweek is, it's been like this a few times recently where Tuesday is enough definitely for a bet. Wednesday maybe enough for a bet builder in one of those Champions League games. And then Thursday, like I've said this on Twitter, those EFL, or not EFL, those Europa League and Europa League conference games are feast or famine. Sometimes you'll get loads of goals, sometimes you'll get fucking no goals. Sometimes I wonder is it even worth doing a bet in those, but then when it comes to the day, you're just like, you fancy a fucking doing a bet, so what are you gonna do? But it is strange, half the games at 5:30 or 4:45, and then the other games at 8 o'clock, and it's your bet could be beat if you mix and match, and then if you don't mix and match, then I don't know, you end up doing 2 bets. So look, I don't know what to do with that Europa League. Maybe I'll give that week a miss and come back when it goes to the next round when it's more of the good teams are left. But they are feast or famine, those games. Really, really hard to pick bets in. So anyway, that's it for this week. Just leaves me to say, if you are doing a bet, good luck and happy punting.
Here, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, thanks. Let me find out you fucked up. I'll leave you wherever I find you.